What's up, y'all? It's your boy JB, aka Spoken. And yeah, I'm over here chiefing, chilling, vibing, relaxing. Chilling with the fam, making it do what it do. First off, let me just start off with a prayer, because I feel like a lot of these podcasts, I don't listen to them, but I've heard them in the past, and I haven't listened to any good ones in a while. I would like to, but I'm going to start off by saying, Father God, please watch and guide everybody with your energy, your positive energy. And I may not be saying the prayer at the capacity that people who judge how I project this prayer out, but it doesn't matter. It's all about bringing people together, allowing them to have a mind of their own, and also walk in the execution that they project into the universe, social media as well, and hold themselves accountable for the thing they try to make others accountable for. I pray that people leave with understanding, and also understand that I mean no malice by what I say tonight. I'm gonna end it right there. What up, y'all? So yeah, that's the first time I prayed on this thing. Y'all can say, oh, that boy high over there. Hey, mind your goddamn business. Alright? So let me go ahead and get into the Nick Cannon thing, man. A lot of people want to know what I think about the whole Nick Cannon thing. JB, what you think? What you think, man? The name of this podcast is called The Challenges of Being Young, Black, and Poppin' in Hollywood. The Challenges of Being Young, Black, and Poppin' in Hollywood. Now, everybody knows what's been going on with Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon is obviously trending in the world, and we all know why. He has a podcast called Cannon's Class that he hosts on his YouTube channel. And first off, I just want to say this. I had a negative experience on the Wild 'N Out show, but I don't have a negative experience with Nick. Just to be clear, okay? I had a negative experience on the show, but I don't have a negative experience with Nick personally. So let me just get that out of the way before people start taking things and start running it out of proportion. Because you know niggas gotta feel like they gotta counsel somebody. We in them times. Didn't I tell y'all 3-4 years ago, 2 to 4 years ago, that we in the council culture, that we in a pull your card season? This is the era of pull your card. This is alignment season. I've been saying it for the longest. Now you see in 2020, everybody getting their card pulled. I've been saying it for the longest. Prep up for 2020 because it's about to be some shit. I didn't know what it was gonna be. Well, all I knew was that people was gonna get their card pulled. And one of those people that got their card pulled this year was myself. And also, right along with that, everybody else. Nick Cannon, it's time for you to get this motherfucking work. Nah, it really ain't about that. Nah, but for real, y'all. To be real, everybody knows what happened with Nick, like I said previously. And my take on it is this. Nick has been in the game for a very long time, okay? And everything what I'm speaking on is not opinion, it's facts. I'm just gonna, y'all know I'm the receipt man. I'm not gonna play no games with y'all. I'm not gonna pull some shit out my ass. Everything what I'm saying, you can pull this shit up, okay? I'm the receipt man. So you can always fact check me. It is what it is. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care, you know? But I can admit that shit though, unlike a lot of people. But here we go. So Nick has been in the game for a long time, and I've been a fan of Nick ever since I was a little kid. A lot of people don't know that. I can't name a lot of people. I can't name many people who has his actual albums in their crib. I have Nick Cannon albums. When Nick cut his motherfucking hair on Drumline, I cut my hair. When Nick had an afro on Drumline, I had a motherfucking afro. When that nigga had braids, I had braids. Okay? So, I'm never gonna hate on Nick Cannon. People just don't understand where I'm coming from when it comes to what I was saying previously in the past. So I don't want this podcast to get people's feelings and opinions all misconstrued with what I'm about to teach today, tonight, this evening, this morning. Don't matter. You know what I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying. Nick has been in the game since a teenager. He has been grinding. I mean, the man has been putting so many points in the board. I don't even think y'all can even count the score for how many points he has put on the board, regardless of how corny y'all think he is. Even if you don't like him, it's obvious that the man means well, and he ain't really trying to be in the way of pretty much nothing. But people are people, and people are going to have their opinions. People are going to have their feelings about whatever they're sensitive about. What Nick is going through right now is nothing no different from what I'm going through and what I've gone through. I'm going through the same damn thing, except I've never been called out like that by the dominant society. You see, what Nick did, he spoke out. And like I said before, years ago, and this is no insult, he had just started speaking woke stuff about 4 or 5 years ago. And speaking like that, when you've been in the game for so long, that's going to come with a huge price. That's going to come with consequence. You see, what the dominant society did, and shout out to Tariq Nasheed and Neely Fuller the GOAT, because we all have our teachings and learn from other people. I'm not one of them people that be like, oh man, you know, I'm out here spitting that shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, we learn from everybody. I learned from Dave Chappelle, learned from Chris Rock, learned from Bernie Mac, I learned from Tariq Nasheed, I learned from TD Jakes, the Nation of Islam, shout out to Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, but I'm still me. I still got a mind of my motherfucking own. A lot of y'all have a problem with that, having a mind of your mother effing own. I've seen a lot of people say, so who gonna pick up Wild or not? It need to be picked up by somebody. Somebody gotta do something. Nick need to create his own network. Nick has been in the game for over 20 years. You don't think he has been trying to create his own network? That's why he has Incredible. That's why he funded, in the beginning, the creation of Wild 'N Out. Now, being a businessman and a boss, I can't totally speak on his contractual agreements with Viacom or whoever. This is where people get shit fucked up. When you're on this podcast shit, this shit for real. Everything is recorded. So you have to be mindful of what you speak on when you're reporting stuff. Alright? So I take my time. The thing about the Wild 'N Out thing, man, Nick has now entered the blackball zone. And a lot of people said that I've been blackballed over the years. Nick came in the game, young, black and poppin' in Hollywood. Had his own show, Nick Cannon Show, way back. Y'all remember that? 90s babies and the late 80s babies know what I'm talking about. But he wasn't that guy who spoke truth to power at the time. He came in the game trying to make a name for himself, just like we all do. But he played the game backwards because he didn't come in the game that way. When you come into the game that way, you won't get your card pulled that way. You won't get your card pulled like that. Don't get it twisted. Anybody can get their card pulled. But let's be real. Let's keep it 100 here. This ain't no insult, no nothing. Let's just keep it clean cut for real. 100. He was considered the token Negro. Hell, they tried to make me the token Negro. They found out real quick I wasn't with it. Nick has broken bread with Jewish people, millions of dollars too. Millions. He spoke on his platform, Cannon's Class, with Professor Griff, and they let him go. He had been with Viacom for over 20 years, since he was 17 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like he stated in his statement, I was a member of the Viacom family. You don't call nobody family, especially white folks, unless you breaking serious bread with them. For real. And he was considered the token Negro to them. That's not up for black people to discuss. They chose him. There's not too many black people, black men, that get a chance to sit in the type of seat that Nick Cannon sat in with Viacom. This is what made him a very wealthy man. This is how he pulled up on Mariah Carey. Pull up on that pussy with that network money. You can't just be no 28-year-old young nigga out here pulling up on Mariah Carey with a couple mil. When you see Nick Cannon, you see Nick Jr. When you see Nick Cannon, you think Nick Jr. Nickelodeon. That's what should come across your mind. Hell, Viacom on BET, MTV, VH1, a lot of other stuff I can't name right now. I'm not finna get too far into it, but correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody in the world know kids, pets, women, and babies, and sex at the end, no funny shit, are the top sellers in the world. This man had a huge hand in Viacom, and this is how he was able to thrive basically all his career. And he was speaking some little woke stuff in his stand-up back in the day, past 5 years, like 6 or 7 years ago. But he really got on his woke stuff like 4 or 5 years ago, and that is when it started to come across the radar of the dominant society, white folks, and they like, all right, man, we gonna keep our eye on Nick Cannon. We gonna keep our eye on him. That's what they do. You done broke all kind of money with them, they gonna keep their eye on you the whole time. It wasn't just that episode that made them think and come to the conclusion that, oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of Nick Cannon right now. No, they've been watching that man's show for the longest. They've been watching him for the longest. They've been waiting for the time that was right to hit the button, and that's what it was. And being blackballed doesn't mean that you're gone forever. This is why you gotta sit back and watch and wait and just see how this whole situation unfolds from here on out when it comes to Nick Cannon and his affiliation with the dominant society, aka Jewish people. Because of his relationship with them for so long and the way they did things the way they did by canceling his contract with Viacom, that set a huge tone. He was on his podcast saying basically white people, Jewish people, people in the Illuminati, Europe, and white folks in the Caucasus Mountain.
But I don't care what this baby's name is. This baby is rice-skinned, but not light-skinned. That is a white child. That is Caucasian from the mountains of Caucasus. That is a Slavic baby, a Viking from Iceland. That baby got 730 as a credit rating right now as an infant.
Lack soul more than melanated people. Correct me if I'm wrong. He been in the game for over 20 years. He knew them people was watching him. And I want to believe that he thought the button was going to get hit way earlier than this. Something in me believes that he kind of surprised he even made it this far, talking that black power stuff in front of these quackers. Now they over here sending him death threats and stuff. He in that game now. When you done broke millions with him? Nah, it don't work like that. It don't work like that, buddy. He know it. It's crazy because a lot of people was looking at me and analyzing my career like I wasn't humble. No, I just went to Hollywood with demands.
How much time I got?
You got 3 minutes.
All right, hold on.
3 minutes.
All right, you can shut your fat ass up. All right, hold on, Russell. Look. I know you don't do music no more.
Man.
You don't do music no more. I know you put poets, you put comedians on and everything.
He called you a fat ass.
Look, man. Look.
You call me with
I want a
eyeballs like
$7
that,
million deal, joint venture deal. You can have all my publishing.
Listen, I think you got to
I want a $7 million
He thinks
deal.
you have to go.
Shut the fuck up. Look, Russell, you ain't finna do me like that. Look, I got a mixtape out, man.
Sir,
Over
sir.
1 million views. My mixtape, man. Check me out. Oh, motherfucker.
Yeah. Okay. Get the fuck.
Hey, hey,
Please,
hey,
can you remove?
You gonna check out my motherfucking mixtape, nigga?
Get the fuck out.
You ain't finna touch me. You gonna touch me? Check out my single, man. Check out my mixtape, man. Lying on your dick, lying on your dick. Come on, Russell. You ain't finna do me like that, bro. Check out my mixtape, bro. Check out my mixtape, dog. Come on, man. You can have all my publishing. Check out my mixtape, bro.
And it was either gonna be their way or the highway or my way or the highway. And I'm still playing the game, but I'm not gonna embed myself in it. Especially if I have to compromise my integrity. Especially if I have to compromise my creativity. Especially if I have to hold back on what the fuck I say. Especially if I have to hold back on how the fuck I move. Who the fuck is you? I came into the game swinging, talking that shit. Hell, still talking that shit. And people was looking at me like I was crazy. And the only difference between this situation right here, what I'm speaking on, is that I wasn't on TV, and I haven't been on TV as much as people would expect. Nick Cannon has never went a year without being on TV for over 20 years. Do you know how many gigs he's been a part of on television? Award shows? His own show? Well, we gonna get to the ownership part in a little bit when we talking about owning shows. Steve Harvey Show, Martin, Jamie Foxx Show, Chappelle's Show, Flip Wilson Show, Revolt, and we gonna touch on Revolt. Matter of fact, let's get on that. Let's get on Revolt. Revolt, even if it is black owned by Diddy, because I don't really know if it is, he still needs approval from Jewish people to get the green light. And that's no offense. That's no shot to the Jewish community. That's just facts. They know it. We know it. A lot of folks don't know it. And the thing is, they'll let you talk your talk. They'll let you move the way you move. But if you're making way too much money with them, but if you're making way too much money with the dominant society and say they lack soul on their platform that they own, because at the end of the day, it's deeper than Wildin' Out. He said this on YouTube. Which means that, yeah, it's your tube, but you don't own YouTube. Who owns YouTube? I'm gonna leave it blank. I went back on his YouTube channel, and that interview with Professor Griff is gone. I said, damn. Shit. They done snatched that motherfucker. Because when you speak on their name like that, especially when it's their platform, they gonna make an example out of you, especially when you have the pull the way you do. Nick Cannon possesses a lot of pull. Nick Cannon is very influential, whether you want to buy into it or not. He literally sat at the table of Viacom. You got to come in the game already on that. Shout out to Ice Cube. He gets a lot of credit, but people really got to look into what Ice Cube doing. Ice Cube came in on this NWA shit, fuck the police, nigga. Had the Nation of Islam with him, holding down power to the people. He was on Higher Learning, talking about 400 years of captivity, oppression. He was on that. Then towards the middle, and where he's at now, I don't want to say the end, but where he stands now, he got to a place where, yeah, he's still O'Shea, gonna hold it down, all for the people, all for black folks. But it's clear as day that he's been getting his money and stacking his bread since he's been in the movies. Ice Cube was like, shit, man, I done did Anaconda and all that junk, man. I might as well calm it down a little bit, fall back. I'm still me. I still love my peoples. I'm still gonna holler at cats in the cut, but I'm finna get my money and take care of my family and start my own basketball league, the Big Three. Look at the receipts. Ice Cube, founder. The co-founder, or the other founder, whatever you want to call him, Jewish man, Jeff Quasinix. If I'm saying his name right, correct me if I'm wrong. Jewish. I ain't saying nothing, just facts. So even if you own it, or you found it, you need them to put your ass on TV. And you're gonna have to stay in consistent communication. He has now rubbed them the wrong way. We gonna sit back and see just how blackballed he is. Just to what degree of blackballed that he is. This is all a new territory for him. And have y'all noticed that over the years, Hollywood has let a lot of black women in Hollywood in high positions, such as high writing positions and producers and stuff like that. Have y'all noticed that? The Shonda Rhimes, the Issa Raes, and there's a lot of them that I'm missing, but I know they're out there. And there's nothing against black women. I'm not saying anything against black women. Please don't go there. But I'm trying to make a point. Where the black men at now? I mean, you know, you don't really hear about it anymore now, right? And I'm assuming it's because the dominant society is tired of dealing with black men, especially if they're not homosexual or soft like Terry Crews, because they just don't want to deal with you. You might flip on them. This is what Nick did. He flipped on them. He know it. We know it. You can't be a token nigga and try to play Malcolm X at the same goddamn time. You gotta pick a side. It's only so long you gonna ride that train until either you eject yourself and dismiss yourself like Dave Chappelle did, like I did, like Monique did.
This is Monique, man.
Baby, he be saying it like I'm a problem.
Oh, you have been a problem. Started getting labeled as difficult.
Yes, we got labeled as difficult because I said one word, and that was no. Y'all knew I was not wrong. Each one of you said to me, Monique, you're not wrong. And when I heard you go on the air and you said, my sister done burnt too many bridges, and there's nothing I can do for her now.
When you tell the truth, you have to deal with the repercussions of the truth. We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to. This the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game.
Before the money game, it's called the integrity game. And we've lost the integrity worrying about the money.
But Mo,
and wait a minute.
If I crumble, my children crumble, my grandchildren crumble. I cannot, for the sake of my integrity.
About 10 million. 10 million? For 4 million, I'll be all the motherfucking monkey you can stand. Black people will be so embarrassed by my motherfucking performance. Big lip, son of a bitch.
There's not a nigga in sight that plays both sides of the fence, that plays Huey P. Newton and the token nigga. It just don't work. It just don't happen that way. When I got into Hollywood, I knew I wasn't going to change who I was. And I went into it like, all right, I left the game. I'm going back to Florida. I'm going back home. I'm going to move on my own terms, my own power. And I've always moved under my own power most of the times. But when you're in Hollywood, you got to play the game. But I made a decision that I got to be okay with this. You know, it's going to hurt, but it is what it is. It's going to hurt sometimes, but it is what it is. I love my freedom. I love my peace. I love my creativity, my full creativity. But when you playing the game, you got to check in. And Nick was checked all the way in, and they had to check him out. He literally sat at the table. Like I said, blackballed doesn't mean that you're blackballed and you're non-existent of having opportunities. It just means that you lack opportunities. Yes, there's such thing as being going all the way. If Viacom really want to be greasy, they can just not play Wildin' Out. They don't need the money that bad. Them people don't need the money that bad. They can just wait until Nick Cannon die and then play it and make the most money. You're worth more dead than alive, nigga. That's just how it works. Look at Prince. Look at Michael Jackson. Look at Whitney Houston. Hell, look at any of them. I just named a few. When you play the game backwards and you don't come in the way you already are, and they already expect you to be a certain way, especially in their mind, and perceive you that way, it's going to make you look more bad than good. Tupac came in the game swinging up front. He didn't wait. and then started barking. He came in with it and died with that bitch. Died swinging. And this is not judging Nick or anybody who plays the game that way, because everybody play it their way. That's your shit. That's your formula. But this is just a topic of discussion. This junk ain't easy, man. We're in the times now where we're on this black empowerment stuff, black reciprocity, screaming Black Lives Matter this, Black Lives Matter that, screaming ownership, screaming grow your own. Well, let's get to it. And a lot of folks thought that Nick Cannon owned the show, Wildin' Out. Apparently he didn't. He created it, but he didn't own it. That's like me saying I created Dr. Reasons, but I don't own it. All Deaf Digital owns it, you know? Business. Your service is no longer needed. It happens all the time. You gotta pick a side and be okay with the outcome. You gotta pick a side and be okay with the outcome. As wealthy as Nick is, it's hard to even paint in your mind that he didn't own Wildin' Out. As boss as he is, it's hard for black people to own anything that touches television. This is what Ice Cube and Magic Johnson is trying to do, trying to own their own black-owned network. But it ain't that easy. The game ain't set up that way. You still gotta go through different layers and different levels to get there, to get to that spot. You have to damn near set yourself on fire. Shit, you have to set yourself on fire. The Jewish community is on cold right now against Nick Cannon. Even if a certain individual likes him, they still gotta stick on code when it comes to showing this nigga who's in charge. Point blank period. Black people, we could all be working together, but we too busy trying to compete against each other. And competition is healthy, but it gets to a point where it's like, come on now. Let's evolve together. Let's spread this. Let's get some shit popping. Let's really make some moves as black people. And the crazy part is, Nick demanded ownership of Wildin' Out and called out Viacom's racism. All I'm saying is this. You've been with them people for over 20 years, 2 decades, right? Knowing how racist they was, but then chose this time on the way out the door to call it out. You could have shifted that while you was in the chair if you would have played it right. But who knows? You don't own it. We don't own it. Anybody with a business is a boss in their own right, but there's levels to this thing. There's levels to it. Nick Cannon is the boss. He just don't own Wildin' Out. He don't own Viacom. That's them people money. That's they shit. And they all cousins. It's a family thing. They on code. Black people need to learn how to get on code. We're on code, but we need to tighten that bitch up. Become organized. Stop chirping out the side of your neck so much. Speak with substance. If you're gonna project something out there in the world, make it worth it. But whatever you put out there, you stand on that. Nick Cannon apologized. Hey, do what you do. That's your life. And although we do salute you, stand on it, man. This is when the respect come in. But I understand why he did it. I totally understand. Business. This is everything what Dame Dash be talking about. See, people be thinking that Dame Dash be crazy, and he probably does, and he does has his ways. But that don't take away from what the hell he be talking about and be putting out there. The game he be spitting be solid. His way may be the hardest way, but it's the most respectable. It's admirable. Owning your own shit. Nobody can say nothing or take nothing from you. And if they do, you got a real fight on your hands. Because that's your shit. They smash Nick because that's they shit. We gotta do better as black people on how we judge folks as entertainers or so-called has-been, or judging how they look, how they living. Because in the end, you don't know what these people doing. They might be chilling and owning all they shit. A lot of people ain't got nothing to prove. Jay-Z and Dame went their separate ways. You see the outcome on both ends. When Jay-Z decided to play the game, and Dame said, nah, fuck that. But you see the outcome though. Stop judging people just because they look like they in the trenches struggling. Maybe they trying to be low key. Maybe they're building that black owned business that we will soon need someday. Instead you over here like, they so broke, they fell off, Black folks do that. Black folks be worried about who the fuck fell off. I ain't never heard no other race say that about their own. Black people will throw your ass in the dirt quick, build you up to shit on you, right? Am I wrong? Or should I say niggas? I think that's better to say. But you get my point. Own your own shit. Stay out the way, stay low key. If you're gonna be on this podcast stuff, make sure you tighten up your words. And that's for everybody. This ain't just for one person, it's for everybody out there. Be careful. Uplift each other. And keep in mind that you gotta be willing to face anything when you decide to jump out there and start talking. You gotta be willing to face anything that come with that. That's the cost. That's the price. It's easy for you to say now till y'all get a couple dollars in front of y'all face and be like, shit, I ain't never been to the movie. I'm gonna take the check. I'm gonna take the check, bro. Get that, buddy. I ain't never been in the movie. Hey, shit, I gotta try myself. Shit, that's y'all. Hey, I can't fault you. But I see you though. I'm over here working on my own platform, SpokenReasonsTV.com, building my own infrastructure. I've been doing that since day one, and I want to keep it that way. I don't want nobody looking over my shoulders. I don't want nobody telling me what to do with my own shit. So when you out here in front of these folks, hanging around them trying to get on, understand what you giving up. Understand what you sacrificing. This thing is give and take. A lot of stuff ain't fair in life, but you got to find that route, your niche on how to change the game. Think of ownership like you discovering oil in your backyard. You discovering a diamond in your backyard. You discovering gold in your backyard. If them folks find out you got that shit in your backyard, they coming to see about you. Hey, we'd like to get that off of you. I'm Billy Millevistisberg. You can get the spotlight. Oh yeah, you gonna get the spotlight. But when you start spitting truth to power and don't package it up right, there goes the green light. It's gone. Terminated. Now you're gonna have to swim on your own. So Nick could be blackballed heavily by this. Could. We'll see. But this is for everybody. Black folk. Listen, I understand there's a lot of content creators out here right now. A lot of entertainers trying to get on. Hell, out here doing it right now. If you're a content creator, if you're an entertainer right now, and you doing it right now, you already in the game. Think about it like that. You already in the game. You just don't feel like you at the level where you want to be right now. Enjoy the ride. Build your baby. Build your brand. Build it up so high that you have a demand that people want. And it's okay if people of all races and all over the world want to check your shit out. That's what you want, right? But play the game smart. Give and take. Would you want somebody to run up in your house that you don't know, that you didn't grow up with, that you don't eat with, that you never went to the same schools with, never ain't familiar with, and give them a percentage of your brand that you created? Especially when it's a whole entity? Nah, that's how they move. That's how they move, bro. But it's your boy JB, aka Spoken, man. I'm out. I ain't gonna go too much into it, man. It was good chopping up with y'all, giving y'all what I thought. Hey, man, much love to everybody. I pray for y'all. Love y'all. And I'm
Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.